This is a helpful beading tip from Turquoise String Beads in Fall River, Massachusetts. This is for a beginner level beader. It doesn't get any beginner as these pair of earrings get. And it relates to wire, but very, very basic wire. The tools that you're going to need to do this project are going to be 24 gauge artistic wire, or you can use 24 gauge sterling wire. You just have to make sure that it's dead soft, a pair of chain nose pliers, a pair of wire cutters, some 3mm Swarovski crystal, and some sterling silver hoops. We have all of these parts available in the store, and the hoops that we use range anywhere from 40mm down to 14mm. The size that we're going to be using today are going to be 28mm hoops. To start off, you're going to take a piece of 24 gauge wire. I like the non-tarnish base metal because it's not going to be touching your ear at all. The sterling silver part on the hoop will be going through your ear. And it doesn't tarnish, it lasts for a really long time. You can use sterling silver, but you have to make sure it's dead soft. Half hard will generally bow out and it won't form to the hoop the way you want it to. So whatever you use, it has to be dead soft. So I'm going to start off by picking up my hoop. Once I pick up my hoop, I'm going to click the center piece open because I'm going to be going in and out of there to do any of my wrapping. I'm going to pick up my wire, and holding on to the hoop and the wire with my thumb, I'm going to go around with the tail of my wire, and I'm just going to wrap around the hoop maybe 3 or 4 times. And it doesn't have to look perfect. Once I've wrapped around it, you can either take your pliers or your nail and just scrunch all the wire up together. Now I have my ending. You don't want to cut off this tail just yet because you're going to be using it to keep your crystals in place once you start wrapping it. Once I do that, I'm going to get some 3mm crystals and I'm going to load a bunch on. You only want to load on maybe 1 or 2 inches at a time. Any more than that, it's going to be a little harder to work with, and you risk twisting the wire the wrong way and snapping it, and we definitely don't want to do that. So I'm just going to load on some crystals. This is probably the hardest part of the whole project, is loading on as many crystals as you can. Once I have a section of crystals loaded on, I'm going to bring them right down to the base of where I wrapped my wire. Now, you want to make sure that you're holding on to the hoop and that extra little tail that you just made, because it's going to help you keep everything anchored in where it's supposed to be. I'm going to take my wire and I'm just going to wrap it around through the opening in the earring. And you want to keep a nice tight tension on the crystals. I'm just going to wrap it straight around. Once I've done my first section, I'm going to go back. I'm going to load on another 2 inches worth of crystal, and I'm just going to start wrapping it around all the way around the hoop. And that is the entire body of the earrings. Stringing on a couple of inches of crystal and wrapping it around the hoop. Once you get over to the other end, and I have a pair that's almost finished, so I'm going to put this down, and I'm going to pick up the other pair. Once you're done stringing everything on and wrapping all the way around the hoop, you're going to finish it pretty much the same exact way you started it. So I'm going to wrap around until I get to the top of the earrings. Now that I'm at the top, I'm going to take my piece of wire that's left over, and I'm just going to wrap it around 2 or 3 times to anchor it in. Once I've done that, oh, it's getting in the way a little. Once I've done that, I can come in with my wire cutters, snip off any existing wire, and then I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, and any little bit of wire that might be sticking out, I'm just going to pinch it in. And there you have it. The earring is all done. A pair of these, even for a beginner, shouldn't take you more than 10 or 15 minutes. They're really fun, they're really easy to do, and anyone can do them. As far as crystals go, depending on the size, you're going to need anywhere from 200 to 450 crystals to take care of these pair of earrings. And it's very important that you stick with the 3 millimeter, because for the size hoop you're using, anything larger than a 3 millimeter will show large gaps in between the crystals, and you risk cracking the crystal. So you want to start off with a 3 millimeter, or even if they're a very small pair of hoops, you want to go to a 2 millimeter crystal, but you don't want to go any larger than a 3 millimeter. That's it for now. We hope this was helpful to you. We'll have lots more helpful hints, so stay tuned. In the meantime, happy beading from Turquoise String Beads in Fall River, Massachusetts.